Tales from Tech Support can be a pain. I'm your host, Height. Let's see who lacks a brain. Our first one is from No Flies on Fergie. A little background. I'm a paralegal at a small law firm who is slightly more tech savvy than anyone in my office. About 9 months ago, my boss gave me a raise and a small reduction in my required billable hours so I could make IT stuff a part of my job. Overall, I like the new role and additional responsibility, but to be clear, I'm not especially tech savvy. I basically set up hardware and people call me with their problems to see if I can solve it. Most of the time, I just have them call our third-party IT company. I just know that the HDMI cable goes into the hole shaped like an HDMI cable. My boss, we'll call him Dave, is a wannabe hard-ass in an extremely not hard-ass law firm and has been on a bit of a tear lately over IT costs. Dave is a lawyer. He's not an accountant or IT guy. He's been micromanaging, sending me contradictory emails within minutes of each other. Almost every 2 weeks, he tells me to start looking for a new third-party IT company, and then recants within the hour, and becomes angry when he gets any pushback or suggestions whatsoever to his ideas. Last month, the big thing was the number of computers being serviced by our IT company. He gave me a list of 10 computers that he wanted taken off service with our IT company. I mentioned that maybe we should keep a spare or two in case something goes wrong with one of the 75 other computers we have at the firm. Our IT company expressed this concern as well. He is not interested and tells me to just get the fucking computers off service. I can't believe we're still paying for this bullshit. So I do. Every computer he listed is taken off of service. The firm saves about $150 a month in IT costs. Fast forward to about 2 weeks to yesterday. An attorney's laptop died and needed to be replaced, and an off-site office had a similar issue with an attorney's desktop. I call our IT company to get 2 computers put back on service, but for reasons beyond my tech understanding, there were issues and it took almost 4 hours to get everything up and running as needed and out to the proper parties. Here's the thing. The firm charges $115 an hour for my paralegal work. They charge $0 an hour for my IT work. The firm lost out on $460 in my billable time, as well as $2,400 for the 2 $300 an hour attorneys without working computers because the boss wanted to save $150 this month. The best part? I'm not telling anyone. Not Dave, not accounting, not the partners. I don't care, and it's not like any money saved will be used for future raises. I hadn't gotten one for about 3 years before the IT role came along. This is just someone who clearly doesn't think about the bigger picture and wants to make decisions regardless so they can feel special. In the end, it completely backfired, but at least it didn't fall on OP. This next one is by Not Your Nanny. One of our stores had a power outage. Not a huge deal. It happens. We can deal. Due to some recent work on the network, however, we didn't have everything in the network closet running on the UPS yet. And when the power came back on, the SD-WAN box, the one single point of failure, didn't boot up correctly. It would route WAN traffic, but not LAN. Note, when we upgrade our phones to VoIP, we pull the cable for each phone, separate from the computer network. So the phones are entirely outside of our network. More expensive, but there are reasons, and good ones. The SD-WAN box thus has, or rather uses, 2 LAN ports, one for us, one for the phones. Our telecom provider had, of course, detected the outage and automatically opened a ticket. They detected that the SD-WAN was back up and closed the ticket. The store was still offline and was less than 100% efficient at letting me know, but when they did, they told me the phones were still down as well. This was the second store this exact thing had happened at in 2 weeks, and the first one took an on-site visit by a tech to reconfigure the SD-WAN box. This was late on a Friday. Once I found out, I reopened the ticket and explained that with the phones down as well, it had to be the SD-WAN box that's acting up. They looked at it, saw the SD-WAN was showing as online, couldn't see our firewall behind it, and closed it again. "We show that you're online in the orchestrator." So I reopened it a second time, made it clear we are still offline, and so are the phones, which are outside of our network. Same result, same message, word for word, closed again. This is Saturday afternoon. We've been offline for 2 days at this point, which is painful, but not a huge deal. But the phones have been down as long, and that is a big deal. So, okay, we're a 6-figure-a-year account with about 24 locations now, with a platinum support team. So I emailed their account rep and asked her to escalate the ticket. It was Saturday afternoon by this point, so I didn't actually expect a quick response. I was wrong. Less than 5 minutes, I get CC'd on the message to the escalation team, and less than 2 minutes after that, I get an email from the escalation team. Woohoo! Things are happening. The SD-WAN is up. I do not see your internal equipment switches, routers, or firewalls. Yeah, things are happening, but all progress is backwards. For the 4th time, the phones are not working. The phones are not on our network. They go through a separate switch that plugs directly into the SD-WAN. There is no part of our network that can affect the phone service. The SD-WAN is not communicating with its own LAN side. For the 4th time, this is the exact same thing that happened after a power outage at another location last week that required an on-site visit to reconfigure the SD-WAN because the configuration got corrupted by the power outage. I did get an apology after that, and he was able to get into the box remotely and get it working in less than half an hour, unlike the previous incident. I guess there are advantages to being a big fish in a medium-sized pond, and they're better than any other phone or internet company I've dealt with. But there are times. This is one of the downsides I see about like remote tech support. If you're having an issue with a tech item, but they can ping it remotely, they're saying that there's no problem even though you know for a fact there is one. Like in OP's case, and it's extremely frustrating to deal with. I'm glad that OP was able to actually get this resolved by somebody who knew how to dig a little deeper. And our final one is from Ruse Fox Ghost. Basic mundane tale from yesterday. So I'm the de facto IT girl for my grandparents' church. They're a rural church and my grandpa works in the administration. They're small, mostly run by old people, and don't have a big IT budget. So since I'm the one tech-savvy grandchild out of all the families that run the church, my grandpa calls me when he needs anything techie done. I don't make a job out of IT work and I'm not religious, but my grandpa pays me and I could always use the extra cash. I'm no pro, I have no training, just determination and good problem-solving skills. That's enough to seem like a pro to him at least. So this time, it was a printer issue. Printers are the most unholy piece of work in tech, as the stories say. But at least fixing one is an actual challenge, so compared to the more common issues that are usually easy fixes that old people without tech literacy can't figure out, this was a breath of fresh air, because it likely wouldn't be their fault, and I wouldn't have to hold back rolling my eyes out of politeness, because the printer has no conscience to care about it. So, printer, the big unit office style one, beeps and asks you to put the envelope paper in the multi-purpose tray with every print job. You have to walk down the hall to press a rectangular tray full of letter-sized paper with every print job. And a lot of printing is done because they prefer paper record keeping. I go into paper settings on the printer. I change everything I can to try to print from the right bin. Fail every time. I check all the print settings when going to print. Everything is set to letter-sized paper. I go back and forth with printer settings because it looks like it should be a printer issue, but none of the many available settings fix the issue. So my grandpa takes out his MacBook and tries to print. it prints fine. So, boom, narrowed it down to a computer issue with the Windows 11 laptop. I'm used to Windows 10 and don't use 11, so it took a few minutes to find the ridiculously hidden print settings. The one from the settings menu, formerly handled from the control panel, and 4 menus deep, where no one using the computer would ever think to look. There it was. The default paper size was set to envelope. I set it to auto. Boom. Printing with letter paper selected works again. I have absolutely no clue how it changed, so I went to the other Windows 11 computer, turned it on, and tested it out. Same issue. Its settings were also changed to envelope in that deep, hidden dialog box. I wrote out a how-to-fix guide for them in case there are other 11 PCs I didn't get to, but I still have absolutely no clue how it happened. And I'm going to blame Windows 11 updates and perhaps the fact that even being in a church cannot exorcise the demons plaguing that OS. Well, at least the printer has turned to Jesus this time. Printers are always a nightmare. I think part of the problem is because they are literally putting out a new printer constantly like they do a cell phone without really any real advancements outside of what's required to use the certain ink, and it's just a fucking money pit. I really hate printers, and I really enjoyed that scene in Office Space where they took that office printer out and gave it what it deserved. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Tech Support. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.